blessed to have here. It's with great honor that I introduce. His resume is very, very long with many, many honors. I don't want to take too much of your time, but it's a great honor for me to introduce our guest speaker today, Major General Scott A. Jackson, Chief of Staff, SouthCom. Sir, welcome to the
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm going to try not to fall off the stage. I tend to wander. You got to catch me. Don't worry. Hey, so I know the host. You kind of went around the whole Veterans thing at 27. So that's a great thing. All right, so let's talk stuff outside of Miami. So let me ask you all a question. What? Chinese. Drugs. What did you say? Chinese. Say it again, sir.
Human trafficking.
Chinese. You guys are like much smarter than any other military audience I get, right? I play this game with them, I go word association, I go SouthCom, give me a word, and they'll go, drugs. I go SouthCom, and they'll go, gun. I go SouthCom, and they'll go, thugs. Right? What they don't say is China. What they don't say is Russia. What they don't say is Iran. Right? What they don't say is counterfeiting goods that are weakening the economy of our partners down South America. That is the national security problem in South America, right? So, I went back, when I put this pitch together a while back, I looked at my notebook. In one day, one page of my notebook, I took the notes for that particular intel, right? This is what I had in my notebook, all right? We have two failed states off the coast of Florida, 90 miles away, Cuba and Haiti. Two failed states, that's not good. As I say, we're one bad day away from a mass migration event, which means thousands of people taking to the seas and heading our way. Humongous humanitarian crisis. Put aside the whole migration thing. 1,000 people coming across the water, all right, in things that they call boats, which nobody here would call boats, all right? This is a humanitarian crisis. It's a disaster waiting to happen. That's one bad day away. It could be an earthquake, it could be a hurricane, it could just be civil unrest, right? There's lots of triggered events, but we watch it very carefully because that, again, would be a traumatic event for us. We got pre-receipt, we got Chinese intelligence facilities operating what the Chinese would call in the Pacific as their first island chain, right? They talk about Taiwan as the first island chain, right? And then their second island chain. They get pretty upset about stuff that happens in the first island chain, right? But China is operating in our first island chain, Cuba. Okay, you mentioned drugs. All right, let's talk about drugs. All right, in any given 24-hour, 48-hour period, on average, we're pulling about 2 tons of cocaine off the water. 2 tons, 4,000 pounds. All right. Just in the last 48 hours, we pulled 5 tons of marijuana out of the water. All right. Now that's kind of a new thing, by the way. Marijuana coming out of South America in large numbers. Usually comes out of Mexico. Now it's starting to come out of South America. Now you're like, bam, 2 tons. All right, fun fact, pretty. That's a good thing. It's a good thing for us in West Hemisphere, fat thing, obviously. Don't let them speak either. All right, but the Russians are still a player in this area, and we'll talk about them a little bit. We've got Russian Navy ships coming down to the Caribbean from time to time. A few years back, before Ukraine, we used to see Russian bombers that would take off from Russia, and they would basically fly all the way down through the Atlantic, through the South Atlantic, back up through Africa, back to Russia. Why? Because they could. Why did they want to do it? To show the Americans that they could do it. And they are still doing it, just to a lesser extent. Regretfully, we've got a democracy problem. We got the Chinese growing. So to the gentleman's one over here, sorry. Our national defense strategy says China is our facing challenge. All right? It is what we are building our defense structure against, is China. Right? Obviously, people think China is, it's focused solely in the Indo-Pacific region. Wrong. Right? And I'll talk more in depth on China. You don't see Chinese engaging in exercises like we do, right? U.S. SouthCom and Department of Defense are actively engaged with our partners. We train alongside them, we exercise alongside them, right? We have equipment that's interoperable. That's a good thing. So military to military, we're solid, right? But the Chinese game is not military focused, it's economics and it's diplomatic. And so, you want that? Let me educate you. How about safe cities? One of China's big efforts is this thing called safe cities. Now, who wouldn't want a safe city? Chief, who wouldn't want a safe city? Right? everybody wants to stay safe. But here's the cost of operations, cyber, right? They have a huge media apparatus in South America, right? Larger than CNN, right? And they use that to trumpet messages that work against the democratic process. Recently in Ecuador, and you say, hey, look, what can we do about it? Right? Well, it starts with this. It's this idea that economic security is national security. South America has been beaten down in the last few years. Between COVID and some other internal events, I mean, their economies are struggling. Argentina's inflation is double digits, right? President Milei is trying to tackle that with a new approach. Wish me the best. Yeah, he's good. He's taking it by the horns. But they gotta fix the economy. By fixing the economy, we solve the underlying problems which come back to us. So my words, not my boss's words. But if you're mad about immigration, if you're mad about migration, right, it comes back to the local economy. If you fix the local economies, people will not be so intent on moving. Right? We talk about migration, we talk about pull factors and push factors. Push factors is, hey, I don't have a job. I don't have a social safety net, right? I don't have health care, right? Inflation's too high, right? Those are the push factors. That's what makes people leave in the first place. If you solve those problems or you reduce those problems, people may stay. A lot of immigrants here are just coming to the United States, not necessarily coming as families, but they're coming as workers, and they're sending money back down to their families. We can address and increase the economic output of our partners. We will solve some of our national security. If you're angry about China, and you should be, it starts with the economy. It starts with the economic factors of our partner nations. Again, you attack that problem, you reduce the Chinese threat in our Western Hemisphere.
The housing, hospitals, Walter Reed Hospital, we do great there. Year-round, great weather. You got fishermen, you take them out fishing and everything.
So many fish.
Homestead Airport Station.
Yeah, no doubt, it is a big resource. And SouthCom realizes that. You know, it's Homestead kind of for us. Homestead represents the southernmost CONUS-based installation we can inject power. Right? And so it is important. And you know, and I know that Rubio's team and Salazar's team, we advocate.
I don't know, I couldn't see.
Any other questions? Right? As I mentioned, it's about economic security, so it's about Department of Trade, it's about commerce, it's about trade. And so first off, I would say, hey, look, you know, transition does not happen overnight, right? And none of our services look that way. You know, we start the transition process for our service members a year out, right? Identification, if they want to ETS out or retire or what the case would be. A year out, we start transition. They go to what we call the Total Army Transition Assistance Program, TAP. Basically teach them job skills, how to rewrite their resumes, honestly, how to dress for a resume. They have a funny little story, right? It's fun to watch on TAPS Day when they come in and dress for their mock resume, mock interviews, and what some service members think are appropriate business attire. People have to be taught what to wear. I mean, I've worn the same stuff for 34 years. I gotta be taught. But so we teach them how to do your resume, do interviews, how to network. Right? So it starts with just giving them the skills. We have things called DoD Skill Bridge. Any of the corporate folks in the room have are members or partners of Skill Bridge. So for instance, it started out as a very small trial program where we took the utility companies, right? So in Georgia, for instance, Southern Power runs all the electrical grid in Georgia, right? A skilled lineman, the guy that hangs wires.